The sun does not argue with the darkness, it chooses to rise. Peace and welcome to my page. I am the Alchemist Amunti, and this download is going to get very deep, so pay attention. So, what we have to understand is this, right? The moon is the arbiter of cycles. This is why it takes place roughly every 30 days and goes through a cycle of the new to the full moon. This is why the divine feminine womb, it goes through the periodic cycle. The moon is an arbiter of energetic flow currents within the collective. If there were no moons, there would be a lack of balance in a very severe way within the collective. And what we have to understand is a very long time ago, the beings who invaded our planet, our realm, they understood these principles very well. So here's what they did. They inverted the energy of the moon and turned it into a reincarnation trap. When a soul would pass away, and it was supposed to cross back into the darkness of the ethers to go to whatever stargate it needed to go to return to homeworld, go to the afterlife, so on and so forth. This didn't happen. Instead, what took place is that soul saw the light. They saw the moon, a frequency dish. They were beamed right back to the planet. Woke up right back in that hospital room with the light flashing in their eyes. That was the trap. This trap was prevalent for a very long time, and it got to the point where blood wars were actually fought on the moon between the Anunnaki and the reptilians in order to restore balance. Because when there's a lack of flow, when there's a lack of cyclical unity within the collective, it creates a massive well of entropy. Think of it as two particles colliding, but they can't fuse, and instead there's just a massive amount of tension, like tectonic plate shifting. That's essentially what was taking place. Because of that, a lot of people were stuck in old cycles, very ancient cycles, and the cosmos at large was caught in cosmic loops of energy. That imbalance is no more, as Selene guides me to channel this message. At this time, the divine feminine, especially and significantly, the divine feminine womb, is undergoing a deep reclamation of its power. As these frequency inhibitors have been knocked off the moon, not even knocked off, blown off, disintegrated, destroyed, the whole nine. As these frequency inhibitors have been destroyed, what's going to take place is rapid ascension and activation within the divine feminine womb. You'll notice you'll be called more towards dancing, utilizing your body in general in a creative manner, and stepping more into your vessel. For a very long time, the divine feminine has been in a state of extreme grief and shock because of ancient wars that were intentionally perpetuated to destroy the divine feminine and destroy balance within the collective. Lemuria in specific was a very heightened time of divine feminine currency, frequency, and love. This was a very peak period for her power. And the destruction of that timeline caused massive ripple effects that honestly changed the collective forever. Ever since that timeline manifested unconsciously, many women were holding what I will call a grief code of the destruction and disparity that took place in that timeline. They carried a code of feeling unsafe, needing protection, and so on and so forth. And that's just one example of how a collective event can literally alter the genetics and the genome of future descendants and generations. As I stand here, the Netiru, the Osirian Council of Grave Dragons, which I am and a part of, they've stepped forward to say this in so many words. The codes of Lemuria that were destroyed and warped in the past are no more. That energy has been returned to the divine feminine, as I see books and tomes of knowledge, tomes of light descending into the crowns of the women in the collective as they hold their hands to the sky. What's about to take place here is the Sisterhood of the Rose is about to step forward in full force and manifest a giant grid of divine feminine energy and wisdom on the collective. Last year, I had a very significant dream where I was floating in outer space looking at the earth, and the earth had a giant rose just sitting atop it, beaming pink light into what I would assume is the halls of Source. That's what's taking place right now. The divine feminine grid is being restored, and we're essentially forming a giant rose on the planet to restore divine love to the planet. Gaia is super sick of disrespect, hate, animosity, and abuse of her original people. And as such, we're using the frequency of love to destroy. Love and destruction go hand in hand. They actually amplify one another. So, what's taking place here is that frequency is going to pour through the earth, and you're going to start to see a lot of people very emotional. Your own emotions might even be rocked if you're not operating in a space of grounded energy. So, if you experience a rapid outburst of emotions, tears, crying, irritation, be kind on yourself, goddess. Be kind on yourself, God. It's okay. You're just going through a massive purge. Um, what else did I want to say in regards to this? I think that's about it. Just be mindful, and if you're being drawn towards roses, chances are you may be part of the original Sisterhood of the Rose bloodline. Because we have to understand that the Sisterhood of the Rose isn't just a concept, it's not just a frequency. These were actual mystery schools that dated back as far as Lemuria and so forth. We've always had mystery schools in each significant period of the collective, and this is what's returning right now. This conversation in and of itself is a channeling from that mystery school. So, tap in, get back in tune with the Sisterhood of the Rose and the mysteries of that principle, and continue to elevate in your journey. Ashe.